Studio audience, give it up for Heather Wurtele. This says it doesn't have a card in it, by the way. King of all Zachs completely screwed me. I won't be able to record this now for the podcast, so we better not screw it up live on YouTube. Heather, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Say hello to Dark Mark. You know him, of course.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
We'll pretend like you just met and haven't been chatting for the last 5 minutes.
Perfect.
First, I want to compliment you on your shirt. You're wearing the standard protocol polo shirt with all the logos.
Indeed, yes, black, so it doesn't show the sweat stains. It's my Thursday before the race uniform. It's very important.
Everybody has these now. This is a mandatory thing, probably is in the contract even.
No, but it's just something where you go, okay, I want to give love to all my sponsors. I just want to have a casual shirt that, for me, honestly, black athletic shirt that doesn't show sweat stains. And it's just an easy thing. Like, okay, I know I'm going to wear that. And if I get pictures taken with people before the race and tweets, then my sponsors are on there. And usually, when you do the interviews, you get for the pre-race stuff with Ironman, they get you off right at your head. So those sponsor logos show. And yeah, it's part of the deal.
So no logos on the stomach. That would just be weird.
Yeah, that'd be a little weird.
So 2 days before the race, is this a busy day logistically? Is there a lot happening?
Yeah, Thursdays are always a little crazy. Interviews. We have the pro meeting. And I was asked to talk at the All World Athlete Banquet and just getting pictures taken of my bike, like for Slow Twitch and all that stuff. So
I've never heard of that. That website. Is that blue and gray one? That up and comer?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes they put up bike gallery shots. So
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I've heard something
sponsors
about
kind of like
place.
that too. Just sort of like the T-shirt. Yeah.
So 2 days from now, big race.
Yeah, big race indeed.
Sarah Piampiano had you in her top 5 because we're making her give fantasy picks. But you were the last person she picked of those 5. Do you feel like people are maybe not thinking of you? We've got Rachel Joyce. We got some other big names here. Are you being overlooked? Are you angry?
No. It seems like somehow, I don't know how I manage it. I seem to fly under the radar fairly regularly.
You do, don't you?
Which is a little bizarre given how often I win, as arrogant as that's probably going to sound.
6-time Ironman champion, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up. Studio audience. 6-time champion. Will you change your Twitter handle to 6-time?
No.
You share a Twitter handle with your husband still. I mean, is this to make sure that no one is cheating and direct messaging with people, or what is this about?
You know what?
Is it a jealousy thing?
No. We just neither of us would be doing triathlon if it wasn't for one another, and we kind of have that husband and wife Team Wurtele thing. And frankly, we think it's kind of funny. Like, it makes it interesting when we share an account. Right. And sometimes people are like, ooh, was that Heather or Trevor that wrote that? and we have all the same sponsors. So we kind of can just do things as a team. And I mean, we lived in an RV, a 23-foot RV for almost 6 years. So we're very good at sharing in general. So sharing a Twitter account is fine. We actually share a cell phone. We have a US cell phone and a Canadian cell phone, and all sorts of weird stuff.
That's a good relationship you have. My wife and I, if we had to live together in a trailer for 6 years, camper, we'd be divorced within 6 months, I think. I don't think it would work.
Right. Yeah, it definitely takes a certain type of people. We're both pretty low maintenance, pretty laid back, Are
you both a little introverted?
Yeah, we're both quiet. Trevor, more so, I would say. He's someone that comes across quite shy. Like, he's a really humorous guy and writes really funny stuff, but he's someone that needs to...
I love his videos.
They're the best.
I think maybe like you, Doc Mark, like you are funny on Twitter, but like it's because jokes ruminate for a while and then you put stuff out there and it's sort of funny. Like, it's hard.
You're saying I'm not quick-witted.
Yeah, perhaps. Like, Tim Don, how he's just like on fire and firing back. Like, I can't come up with comedy that quickly, but if you let it sit for a while, we can come up with funny tweets or funny things to write on Facebook.
Just give me 5 minutes and then I'll come back.
Yeah, right. You'll have something hilarious.
It really is a sport for introverts, I think, because the type of person is interested in spending 5 hours on a bike by themselves. Probably, there's so much training, there's so much to it by yourself, pool time. I'm a little bit introverted, more so than extroverted. I can turn it on and be outgoing and wild. I feel like Tim Don can do that too. Like, when he's on, he can really just put on a performance almost.
Right. Yeah, I feel that way too. You know, you kind of, okay, I'm doing an interview. I need to be bubbly, but I'm also good at just, being in my own head and getting in a good kind of in the zone training. And
so as you've been in your own head thinking about this race, who do you want to take down? Who do you want to punish?
I don't have any
names.
Anyone in particular that I'm like, that person's going down. I mean, the idea is to just cross the finish line first. So whoever may be in front of me at any given time, that's the person I want to take down.
Do you think that the age group men are going to mess things up for you in this race? The start times aren't significantly staggered. I've heard some complaints already from your 5Q friends.
Right. I think that it is important to have a women's race that doesn't have just things sort of messing it up. My interactions, I haven't really had any problems interacting with age group men. Usually I just ride away from people, or maybe I don't know what the difference is, 20 minutes. I feel like they're not going to catch us by the end of the ride, but it does make a difference if there are slower pro women and they're in a group of age group guys getting pulled along.
They get helped.
That's definitely a disadvantage for people that are out there with their nose to the wind riding by themselves. So I do want, there to be good start time differences so that the women's race is as fair as possible.
Now, I couldn't help but notice that as you were standing around signing some autographs, taking some pictures, everyone was commenting, asking you how tall you are. And
I never get that.
You never get that.
How old is that question? I mean,
it comes up constantly.
Well, it is because I am very tall for a woman, and it's not something people see every day. And so for me, it's something you don't even think about because I just am the way I am. But for people, it's like, wow, you're tall. And it's actually kind of funny how it's not rude to say to someone, oh my God, you're so tall. But like, you would never say that to someone who's really short.
Well,
right?
people say to me all the time, they say, I love your man boobs. What size are they? And I think that's rude.
I don't.
That is not an appropriate question. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, don't ask people that. That's you can't ask about weight or height. Weight and height are the same. You can't ask about either.
Yeah, but apparently if you're very tall, it's fine because people ask all the time. I don't mind. It's just.
But I got jealous because you said your brother was 7 feet tall, and I wanted to be in the NBA my entire life. I was obsessed with basketball, and I would have killed to be 7 feet tall.
Yeah, so all the problems I have with people asking me, I mean, just imagine for him, it's like 100-fold. And he actually has a T-shirt that says, "No, I don't play basketball. Are you a jockey?"
That's a great shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be an endless stream of questions about.
Yeah, how's the weather up there? Like all.
Everybody's a comedian.
I would punch someone in the face if they said that to me and I was 7 feet tall.
Yeah, I remember as a family, because we're all very tall, we'd all walk into a movie theater together and everyone would just be like, oh God, please don't sit in front of us. But we all have no torsos. It's all legs. So actually when we sit down, it's not a problem.
I mean, in terms of running genetics, to have that ratio of longer legs to short torso, that according to David Epstein, who wrote the book, The Sports Gene, that ratio is pretty important.
Oh, is that right? Actually, I've found for me as my progression getting better and better at running, because my legs are so long, my initial tendency was really to sort of overstride and not have quick turnover. So that was something I really had to work on a lot, was my run technique to just turn my long legs over quicker, and keep the form together, not kind of hunch over at my hips when I got fatigued. So that's been something I've had to work on. People kind of go, oh, you have such long legs, it must be so easy to run. And it's like, well, actually, if you look at world-class marathoners and 5K, they're tiny, tiny women. So It's something that's not necessarily an advantage, but I've turned it into an advantage.
You okay in the heat? Are you worried about that this weekend?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why I'm here for that challenge. I need to get better in the heat and humidity for Kona, and I need to nail my nutrition plan for that. So that's the challenge of that is really a big part of why I'm out there.
So at this time, I would like you to trash your coach, Paulo Sousa. A friend of mine through Twitter. I was accused yesterday of being friends with him, and I thought to myself, am I friends with him? I don't know. I mean, we tweet at each other and we DM from time to time, but I've never actually had a live conversation.
That counts as friendship in this day and age.
I don't have his phone number.
Right.
If you're DMing, you guys are best friends.
I don't have his phone number.
I've direct messaged with people that I'm not friends with.
I don't even think I have his proper email address.
I can guess who.
But I'm not going to, well, part of why I'm here is because Paula was like, no one cares if you win Ironman Coeur d'Alene again, Heather. You need to go and do a big race with big names in the heat. And that's this one. So
I can see him putting it very bluntly like that.
Oh, but honestly, that's what I appreciate so much about our relationship. I'm not someone that needs
Hand-holding.
Hand-holding, or
coddling.
someone to pat me on the back. Like I can count on one hand the
You have a husband for that.
right, exactly. I want a coach that knows what he's doing. There's no bullshit. Just tells me what I need to hear.
Oh my God, there's cursing. I'm sorry to our studio
I thought
audience.
that was part of the shot. Wasn't that a requirement?
I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
kidding. Yes, we're totally HBO here.
Right. Yeah, so he tells it like it is, and I really honestly know he's telling me what he thinks and the choices he's making and things he's telling me to do. And when we argue, it's because he has my best performance in mind all the time.
Who is his favorite on the triathlon squad? Does he have is there a teacher's pet, perhaps? Maybe Joe
No,
Malloy?
he likes to joke that whoever makes him the most money is his favorite.
Ooh, because he gets a cut, right? The coaches get a
Yeah.
cut.
But
50%, I assume?
no.
That's what Derek Mark's cut is.
No,
minor
standard.
mix.
I get standard 80%. You get 20%.
All right. That's need to talk to my attorney about that.
I think some people require more of his time than others. Like I'm pretty low maintenance, I would say. I usually just pretty chill going into races. I don't need to like constantly be on the phone and like I'm freaking out about this or that or the other thing. So I think we understand each other really well, but I don't think he has favorites in that way. Just certain people require more from him in different ways.
Mark requires almost nothing from me.
And
Very low maintenance.
Yep. And you get nothing from me.
Now, king of all technology, on the other hand, the man behind the computer. My God, this guy won't leave me alone. It's just I have to help him with everything.
Yeah.
What do you have to say for yourself, King? He really butchered the last show. I'm blaming him for all the technical
You're
problems. I
Canadian.
apologize.
You're due for an apology. I know.
So,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
sorry. So, Heather, 6-time Ironman champion. I mean, the first one was way back in 2008.
Yeah, I was still working full time when I won Coeur d'Alene.
That's crazy. You won an Ironman, and you hadn't really even quit your job yet to really go full time. What were you doing for a living?
I was a molecular geneticist, so I worked.
That's what Mark does, actually.
Yep. Well, retired.
So
Retired,
what
yeah.
I got
Because
out
you
early.
realize this is just a lot more fun than pipetting
a
stuff.
molecular
I can talk all
geneticist.
day about pipetting, but let's
But-
not bore our listeners.
right. So I worked for Natural Resources Canada, and I developed diagnostic tools to detect microorganisms in wood that got exported to Australia and Japan because they had really strict quarantine rules.
Mark knows a little something about microorganisms in wood.
Don't project your issues onto
Those
me.
pathogens, those
Yeah, and so it was a good job in that there were change room facilities at work, so I ran commuted actually, so I'd run
Really?
10K to work, change, get my lab stuff on, and then run home, which is how I got a lot of my run volume in.
it's a government job, and you really have to work about 10 hours a week, right?
I had normal work hours from like 8 until 5, but
Be honest.
but some things were like you had protocols where stuff would have to incubate for 3 hours, and in that time I could go do stuff like go to the pool or
Right.
whatever. So and it was fine. Like I could kind of keep my own hours. I was in charge of the project, so that made it a really conducive work environment for training a lot. And then when I won Coeur d'Alene, it was like, man, okay, well, if I could do that while working, what could I do if I did it full time? And
Was that a difficult decision? Because that's a pretty good job. You obviously went to school for quite a long time.
Yeah. Did undergrad at UBC, my master's at UVic, and started PhD stuff over in Norway, but I didn't defend my thesis actually.
So you were basically 90% of the way there.
Yeah, it actually worked out better for getting a job that I didn't have a PhD because you end up being overqualified for a lot of things.
Really?
Yeah. But as much as I loved science, I found it really intellectually stimulating, but the day in, day out, you're fighting for grant money, you're trying to like have deliverables and it just wasn't that fun, And so when I was getting good at triathlon, Trevor and I,
This is more fun.
yeah, it's a heck of a lot more fun. Yeah. We thought, well, what can we do to make it work? And we didn't want to have mortgage payments. We didn't want to have bills and stuff. So we just sold our home, sold all our stuff, bought an RV from Repo Depot. It was like an online auction. So we got
Was it like a meth lab that someone repoed?
no, it was actually kind of a nice RV. It was worth like $56,000, but we got it for just under 20.
Wow.
And then, we lived in that for 4 months while still working to save up. And then in 2008, we just took off south to be full-time athletes.
You guys are hilarious. I mean, you really have known each other since high school, according to Dark Mark's research.
Yes.
And
we were Chemistry 11 lab partners.
And it says you were mountain biking together before you were even dating. You crashed.
Yeah.
Trevor's fault, of course. And he was by your side in the hospital. And this began your romance. This is a very romantic story, almost Notebook-like worthy. Where he helped.
Yeah, no,
heal.
he played that situation very well. It was really cute.
It's almost like he planned it, maybe.
No, he didn't. He was training for a 24-hour mountain bike race.
My God.
And I was a little bit of a gorb on a mountain bike, to be honest. I just didn't have that good of skills, and so I actually hit his back wheel and just endoed and landed really hard with the bar end on my quad and got a massive hematoma.
Oh God.
So it was like I thought I had broken my femur almost. Like it was really, really bad. And my leg just swelled up and huge blood loss into my leg. And I was actually teaching undergrad labs. I had just started my master's. And so I'm up there with like crutches and this big swollen leg when I finally got out of the hospital. But I was in the hospital for 3 days, and Trevor, was there by my bedside. And I had been geeking out telling him all this plant physiology stuff. And so he brought me like sweet gum leaves, because I was talking about instead of flowers, like he was paying attention to. He's a wonderful guy. Maybe like a mix CD, so it's good stuff.
Mixtapes.
Take notes at home.
That used to be the first sign of true love. As soon as someone made a mixtape for you, you were in there.
And when you like loved the next song, like they got the order of the songs just right. Yeah, that was a skill.
I once made a mixtape for somebody, and it was like each song was like the story of how it had a significant meaning, and it was all in chronological order. And the fact of the matter is, we weren't even dating. I was in the friend zone the whole time. I was orbiting around. I was so obsessed with this girl. I was totally in the friend zone. We weren't even dating. It was pathetic.
I don't know, pathetic, but I think it's cool.
That's pathetic. Mark, be honest, that's pathetic, isn't it?
I think it's kind of cute.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Hello. So how crazy that you both ended up becoming professional triathletes,
Yeah, I mean,
in a million years would you have thought that would happen, and you make such a horrible career choice?
We haven't regretted it for 1 minute. I mean, the first couple years were lean, like we were parking the RV on the street, just hoping someone's HOA wouldn't come along and kick us out of the territory, because we didn't have any money to pay, like to be hooked up in an RV park. But you would look back and you're just like, yeah, man, remember you'd have to ride our bikes to get groceries and do it. It was just kind of hardcore, but we were so committed to doing it. And it was great. It was a great time in our lives and good stories. And we both developed together as athletes. Like Trevor did not know how to swim until he was about 23, like literally could not swim 25 meters across the pool with his like face in the water. And now he can swim like a 51-minute Ironman, which is really impressive.
Pretty strong.
And I had never ridden a road bike. So he taught me how to do that. But I was strong from rowing and other sports. So I got better at it pretty quickly. And so we both really have made each other better athletes.
I love it. So this year, you're off to a pretty good start. You had a fantastic showing at Oceanside.
Mm-hmm. Dubai before that, which was like...
I guess that is this year, too.
Yes.
What'd you do at Dubai?
I was second behind Daniela Reef.
That's a good person to be second behind.
And that was the biggest payday of my triathlon career, for coming second.
How much was that?
Half Ironman. It was $35,000.
Whoa.
Yeah. The win was 65, and then so that was pretty sweet. I got my very first novelty check.
How'd you like being in the Middle East? Had you been before?
I had been to Abu Dhabi before.
Okay.
I hadn't ever been to Dubai. It was interesting. I was chatting with this woman on the plane on the way home, and she kind of put it in a funny way. She said, "It's like Vegas minus the drinking plus burkas."
Yeah.
Because it's kind of got this like very Americanized, it kind of feels like Vegas. Like things are sort of over the top, the buildings.
It's a futuristic looking city.
Everything is, But then, of course, just the culture and the religion is very conservative. And so if you see Emirati women out there, they're covered. And if I went to the mall, I had to have a long sleeve shirt and stuff like that. But it was safe, and the race was fantastic. So I really enjoyed my experience over there.
Well, congratulations on winning that kind of money. I love that.
Yeah.
And then second at Oceanside.
Correct.
Lost to the other Heather, who's going to be here today.
Right. Yeah. That's cool.
Sisters in Heather. Are you all friends?
We're like polar opposites. Oh yeah, I like Heather. Yeah, we get along well. Heather and Wadi, I know you guys have mocked them in the past, but
that's not true. That's the old me. So I'm
That's
there's
yeah. See, there you go.
kinder, gentler
And you know what?
TRS.
I listened to your interview with Bob Babbitt, and I really appreciated your capacity for self-reflection about how you've evolved over time, because I kind of felt the same way. I was like,
I've grown.
Well, look where it got you, though.
I've changed. Where to get me?
an interview with me, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's
That
a
is
pretty
true,
big
because-
deal.
Got a legit setup here.
One of the first people I got to know in this business was Franco Vatterott,
Right.
your
He's my
agent manager, and he actually suggested that we do a podcast like early on, and you said no.
Yeah, well, because at that time, honestly, you were too divisive. Like, if I was,
I was.
if I interviewed with you or associated with you, people were like, oh my god, she's in that camp, you know. And it was
She's in the jerk camp.
and it was like, oh, and you're sort of mean to people that I interacted with personally, and I liked, and I don't want them to think like, oh, I agree, because people, and it's a shame, people have a problem with separating, like, just because I'm interviewing with you doesn't mean I agree with everything you say ever, right?
Yes. If I insult someone next week, you are not
Right, I'm not
to
responsible
be
for
held
that.
responsible for that.
And that's sometimes the thing with Paulo is he's very blunt. He says what he says, but that doesn't mean those are my opinions because he's my coach, right?
Yes.
And so it's stuff that, like, people just need to be able to separate, like, your personal opinion versus, you know, just because you've done an interview with someone else or whatever. But anyway, so yeah,
I haven't insulted anybody in at least 6 hours, and I'm going to wait till next week until I insult anyone
Excellent.
ever again.
Oh yeah, wait.
Good luck with
wait.
that.
Oh, king of all technology. Well, he ruined my last show with his horrible. I don't know what he was doing there. Were you out late last night drinking or something? I know
We were
on a
working
bro vacation
while
here.
drinking.
But I also think it is sort of an interesting topic is people's
Yes.
tendency to get offended.
Yes.
I feel like sometimes people are, like, honestly looking to get offended for stuff. You know, like James wrote that finisher medal article, and I thought it was pretty funny because I've personally never really been attached to medals. I usually give away my trophies and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
But that said, I've also handed out finisher medals at the last hour of an Ironman, right? And
Right.
it's super meaningful. Like, you see these people that have been struggling out there for 17 hours, and like that medal is like a huge token of what they've accomplished.
I thought the article was funny, and I keep all my medals.
Right, exactly. So
I have them in a nice box. I don't like display them, but if I would never give them away.
right. So you can read that article and be like, haha, that's hilarious. I agree. You can read that and be like, oh, that's funny. I disagree. I like my medals. You can be like, oh, that guy's an idiot. I like my
Yeah.
medals. But you don't need to be like deeply offended. Like somehow this is attacking you as a person, right? Like that's ridiculous.
It's
So
a
I
sport
always
where
find that.
some of us take ourselves a little too seriously. And I listen, my
Most of us.
number one hypocrisy is that even though I talk trash and make fun of people, and a lot of it's comedic, and you know that's what people that are trying to be comedians do, is
Right. Like
Make fun of
hyperbole and
people.
overstate their feelings on
Right.
things. And yeah.
at the same time I have thin skin, so when people give me shit, I'm like, I get mad. And so I also sometimes I can't blame people if they get mad if we make fun of them or goof on them, but
Right.
you know, for the most part we goof on ourselves a lot too. I mean, I just made man boobs jokes about myself,
Did you hurt your own feelings?
very much so. And I'm mad at myself and offended at myself that I would insult myself.
Is that why you're wearing so many layers?
So now you should start a Reddit thread on yourself about
I will.
how you insulted yourself. Yeah.
That's I tell you, I don't need Reddit. That's one more social media thing I don't need.
No, well, I didn't even kind of know what it was until I saw that tweet, and I was like, wow. So it's just people getting together and like all commiserating about getting excessively upset about silly things. It kind of feels like, but
Well, I'm glad, Heather, that you've noticed my maturation, and I think Bob is in town. I'm hoping
oh yeah.
that I can interview him
Oh, that would be exciting.
tomorrow. So, Bob, if you're watching, I'll even buy you breakfast. I'll call it Breakfast with Bob, and I'll interview. We'll you know, give you the respect he deserves.
Bob and Ben, B&B, breakfast. Oh yeah, you could just make all sorts of awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
Of course, but Bob has such a good sense of humor. When I first started, of course, I trashed Bob and made fun of Bob because that's what I did to anybody who had any type of success or notoriety, to draw attention to myself.
Right. Yeah, that was the asshole getting attention phase, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I'm
matured out of that one.
now I'm starting to act like a 38-year-old who's married with a child. Sometimes. Sometimes
No.
I'm acting that way.
But I really like that with Bob too, that he's been around for so long, and I think he really has a good broad perspective about the sport and what's important for growing the sport. And he's not someone that's just like sort of defending the old school. It doesn't feel like, so that's cool.
What did you think of the $2.7 million fine and the illegal gambling ring news from yesterday? Did you even think about it? For those of us nerds on the internet, it was a big deal.
Yeah, I saw the story and I just sort of thought, like, seriously, you guys didn't have your legal work together to make sure that was okay. That's pretty much my reaction. Yeah.
But the lawyers have no problem contacting you whenever they need to. They're obviously
lawyers contacting me.
Yeah,
I get one contact.
it's more than I've gotten.
Yeah,
so far.
You haven't done anything bad. Yeah, it was a little surprising. I thought the Twitter sphere was a buzz, but of course you're a little more focused than the rest of us.
Yeah, I try and definitely race weeks sort of step back a little bit from social media. I'm like you. I have a little bit thin skin. It's getting thicker, as I've been a pro triathlete longer. But right. I just know for my own sanity, I need to not read like this person, this we expect to do well or, blah, blah, blah pre-race. Like I just need to be in my own head and know how prepared I am and just sort of not worry about what anyone else is thinking or saying about me.
Yeah. So should I place a $2,000 bet with Dark Mark illegally that you're going to win Saturday?
Sure. Yeah. Go for that. That
can I borrow
$2,000? And you said he wasn't witty.
See, there you go. That was quick. That came out.
I wish I wasn't joking.
He's on fire. Let's talk about St. George.
Yeah. Sure.
Big win.
Yeah. That was exciting.
How much money was that?
20, I think.
Look at you.
I know.
You're killing it.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, honestly, that as your career gets sort of has progressed, the first thing was like, oh, I want an Ironman, that's huge, right? And then, okay, now I want to win a second one to show it wasn't like a one-time thing, and then, okay, I want to defend that title. And then it's like, okay, well, what your goals start changing, your horizon expands, right? So then it's like, now what I want, okay, now I need to go to the biggest races with the most competitive fields where the money is, right? Like, and that's what St. George was. That's what this race is. So it's starting to be like, yeah, you got to just keep upping your game and changing your goals. So that was like, wow, all the best girls are going to be there. Most of them anyway. And then, yeah, good prize money, tough race. So I was pretty stoked about it.
Will you ever yell at your manager and tell him, show me the money after a win? If Franco ever get calls like that, show me the money.
No.
I'm hoping to get Franco in here too. Is he in town yet?
I think so. Yeah.
Franco Vatterott is Crowey's manager, so she's got like the best premium management, don't you? Big deal, Wurtele. Big deal.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself. I'm a big deal, and people like me, right?
Yeah.
Just look in the mirror.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough.
I'm smart enough.
Doggone it. People like me. Can you believe that guy's a senator now?
He's a good one, too.
Well, people like him. He told himself that enough times.
He believed it. He believed it. I will ask you about this, and you can feel free to just say pass. But can we talk about Cupgate?
That's a yes.
That's a pass, I think.
We can talk about the magazine's reaction to that, which was really disappointing. But
the magazine's reaction. So I've heard about it on. I read the Witsip column, and there was you mentioned something about Meredith knocking the cups off of the table, so you couldn't get a drink, and it was hot.
It was just okay. Let me explain the situation.
Okay, here we go.
So
be quiet, Dark Mark. Let her talk.
In St. George, I was just gradually. I was 1 minute 40 off the lead group of 5 off the bike, and so on the run, I could kind of see them in a lineup diagonal, gradually picking people off. And then I was catching Meredith near the far turnaround, and there's this part you go under the bridge, do a little out and back by this aid station, and so she wasn't necessarily aware how close I was to her, but then we were running on this one turnaround and I was right there. And so she was like, oh, and then we turn around like there's a timing mat. And as we're running through the aid station, there's people just like holding cups out, and it just whacked all the arms and they all fell down to the ground. And I was just like,
she cleared a table.
No.
It was just the hands.
All the arms of like 4 or 5 people holding the cups out.
Okay.
And all of those got hit and knocked to the ground. And I was just like, what the hell just happened? Like what? And I was like,
and there's no time.
I was just like, oh my God, she like knocked them down on purpose. Like that was just what.
That was your first thought.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, it was so mind-blowing because I would never in a million years have even conceived of anyone doing that, right? Like, so it's not something I would just invent because I couldn't even imagine it ever happening.
It's a great move. And if I was when Mark and I write our triathlon screenplay, which will be a comedy about triathlon, the main character will definitely do that to try to win a race. It'll be great.
Well,
It's funny.
But what? And then in my head, I was like, wow, okay, well, tactically, now we're headed up this big long hill, and I had passed just after the aid station, but then she repassed me. And so when Wits Up asked me in the interview what I was thinking at that moment, that was a question.
Yeah.
I just said, I was really pissed because didn't get any water because the cups got knocked down. And I was thinking like, man, I need to get water at that next aid station and then get my butt to the front of the race,
Right.
And that's how I phrased it in the interview question. I just said, all the cups got knocked down. I didn't get any water. So I was
mad.
Yeah. And then she's the one that brought the conversation to Twitter, right? And said, I can't believe that got out there. And at that point, I wasn't going to back down because that's what happened.
Did you
from my
feel Wits Up
perspective.
misquoted you or?
No, they put the quote in like how I said. I didn't say the words she intentionally knocked them because I didn't want to go there, right? Like that just felt like too much. But then when Meredith said that, then Trevor, the perils of a joint Twitter account, was like, she was right behind you and 100% of the cups got knocked down.
Oh, the joint Twitter
Right?
account.
And hard to believe that wasn't intentional. And then then Meredith was like, oh my God, I would never in a million years do something like that. I can't believe you brought this to social media.
Just
And
quite
then
the back and forth.
And I just was like, oh God, this is awful. Like,
Did you
I don't
and
want
Trevor
to
have a fight
turn
about
it
that
to
then,
a big, well, I had to own it because that's honestly what my perspective was,
Right.
But at the same time, I had only had utmost respect for Meredith as a fellow competitor. She was always really nice. And I thought like, it blew my mind. Like it was just something I couldn't imagine that she would do, but I saw it happen. Right. So like, what do you do with that? And when she says like, I never would in a million years do that, that's such poor sportsmanship. I'm like, yeah, I agree. But, and so then I just wanted to just make it go away. Cause I wanted to celebrate my win. I wanted to enjoy the fact that I just won the North American Championships. It was a killer race. Like we battled back and forth.
Yeah.
And I got the win fair and square and I wanted to celebrate that. And instead it was all just this crap. And so I just wanted to just shut up and make it go away. And
do you wish in hindsight you had never mentioned a thing to Wits Up now? Too late.
Yes and no. I mean, I want people to race with integrity and I want people to own their shit. So at the same time, like I feel like in the men's race, if that happened, like Bevan was yelling at Jordan at the end of this race last year because he was like, that move you made, that was bullshit, And I think that's good. People need to be held accountable.
This is sports, by the way,
Right.
people. It's pro sports. Sometimes athletes get mad at each other and call each other out. Nothing wrong with that.
But then it is like I'm getting red in the face now just thinking about it because I was like, I don't want people to like think, I need to hate Meredith because of that one action. You know what I mean? Even if I don't know, someone doing something wrong or in the heat of the battle doesn't mean that for all time they're like a horrible human being, right?
Right.
And so I didn't want it to go there. But yeah, so
look at the candor. This is a great interview, isn't it? I never thought this would go so well. We're killing it. We're killing it.
We're getting the scoop.
Is this fun for you, by the way? Are you glad you did this? Any regrets? I mean, you talked about.
I don't know. We'll see, right?
What would be more painful, Saturday's race or this interview? You think?
Oh, Saturday's race better be more painful. But then Triathlon Magazine Canada favorited all of Meredith's tweets and then wrote this article saying like, basically, I'm a petty bitch who airs my grievances on Twitter and Meredith is like this wonderful, gracious competitor. And I was like, seriously, guys? Like,
those are supposed to be your people, Triathlon Magazine Canada. They stole an article from me.
Yeah. So that was a shame. We have a bad history, the publisher and I, because I wrote an article just about running faster for them, like, hey, do you want to write an article? I was like, yeah, happy to. And they did a really bad job of editing it. Published it was like typos. The first sentence like didn't make sense. And I was really like,
I do that to Jim Gorley's work too. Every day.
But I had put a lot of work into it and my words matter to me, and I was kind of honestly embarrassed to have my name in print attached to
You're almost a PhD for God's sakes. You can't have bad grammar.
Just typos and stuff like that kind of drives me crazy. So
Yeah.
So I just wrote a blog saying, hey, I was happy to write for the magazine, but I really didn't feel like the words published were my words. And this was what I wrote originally. Here's what was in the copy. And like, there you go. And ever since then, they're just like,
They're mad at you now.
yeah. So it's kind of sad.
You have almost as many people mad at you as I do.
Yeah, it's still, I've always just tried to be really upfront and honest, and just I am who I am. And if you do a crappy editing job, I'm not trying to shame you as a person. It's just own it. Yeah, that was crappy. There's like, and this is what I had originally written, and it doesn't mean that now you need to think I'm a horrible person for the rest of my career and not cover what I do. Like, coverage in magazines should be based on if athletes have results that are worth covering, whether you like them or not, then you need to.
I thought coverage in magazines should be based on which companies pay for advertising.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it.
I.e.,
as well.
bike reviews are good if the bike company buys ads.
Makes sense. You're on a roll. Did anyone else you want to call out today?
Yeah. I know. I was like, all the
going.
things I'm not going to talk about. No, but anyway, yeah. So now, if they're going to really hate me now, they can hate me for this. So perfect. But it's kind of ironic because, I can't really get upset about it because, well, I think covering the stuff they do and winning races and having me in the magazines sells their magazines, because people that are fans in Canada and are keen on triathlon want to hear about it. So if they're not going to cover that, less people are going to buy the magazine because they're not reading about it. And
particularly one of the top Canadian, I'm going to say it right now, top Canadian female pro on the planet. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. There's no one else even in your league. Second female pro triathlete, Lionel Sanders. Just kidding. We love him. He'll be here tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
He signed up late, so he got a Friday slot.
All right. I know everyone jumps on the Thursday ones.
Of course.
Hoping to keep the feet up for a little bit.
That's right. Everyone's going to be in their Normatechs all day tomorrow, just tweeting away. Look at my Normatech boots. Are they a sponsor of yours?
I have Normatech boots, but I've never tweeted a picture of me in the boots.
You're in the minority.
Which
did you just say about or a boot? Is there a difference, by the way? A boot?
I say about. But I definitely don't say route. Like, I say route. Like, if you're like, oh, what's the bike route?
I say route.
You say route. Yeah. See, that's something. And the ma'am thing, I have to get used to that in Texas. I'm being called ma'am.
It's not an insult.
No, I know.
They're not saying you're old. They're saying they say that to everybody.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But it just takes a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah. Sometimes when like a 20-something-year-old girl is called ma'am, she's like, oh, you're insulting me. I'm not old. I'm only 25. All this.
So what are you supposed to say, miss?
No, I think they just say sir and ma'am to everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't. I'm an anti-establishment Texan. I don't even have a gun. Barely a Texan. Isn't that right, Aaron? King of all technology. You're barely a Canadian. Are you screwing up my show, by the way, or is this one working? All right, good. Heather, would you like to do some rapid fire 5 questions?
Sure. Let's see if I can identify the theme.
Let me.
I don't know if there is.
It is kind of the theme, isn't it?
I'm going to give like maple syrup.
I'm going to give game show music instead of our normal fast paced because I think that'll be more fun. Where is it though? Like that? That's groovy, huh? All right. What is the plastic piece that protects a baseball player's genitalia, often called?
I don't know. Crotch cup.
Cup.
Close enough.
A cup. That is correct.
Oh, God.
That is correct. Question number 1. That is correct. You are 1 for 1.
Good stuff.
Get more game show music. What 1988 movie starring Christian Slater and Winona Ryder centered on a fad of suicides at the high school they attended?
I have no idea.
Heathers.
The Heathers. I was going to guess that, but I should have.
We even gave you a clue earlier. All right. Question number 3. Is it true that if your marriage... I need more game show music. Is it true that if your marriage can survive bowel movements in an RV, it can survive anything?
Yes.
That is correct. Question number 4. What is drier, Schweppes ginger ale or your husband's sense of humor?
Canada Dry ginger ale, actually.
Judges, is that the correct answer?
Yeah.
King of all technology? That is correct.
Yeah. Schweppes doesn't even hold a candle to Canada Dry, I'm afraid. We Canadians know this.
I totally guessed at the pronunciation there, Schweppes. I was thinking Schweppies. I didn't know what that was.
No, I think, you got it. That's how I would say it.
Pat myself on the back there. Here we go. Question number 5. If you took the $2.7 million the Florida Department of Justice fined the WTC for their illegal lottery and stacked it in $100 denominations, what would be taller, you or the stack?
Me for sure.
That is correct. Is it correct?
It's not correct.
It's not correct? How tall would it be, Mark?
$100 denominations?
It'd be 9 feet 7 inches for the
Oh.
Oh.
I'll talk to myself about my research. Well, then you were 3 for 5, audience.
Yeah.
Give it up for Heather Wurtele, live studio audience. I want to thank BSX Insight. You don't have a conflict with them, do you? You want to thank any sponsors right now, real quick?
Yes, I would like to thank the Island House.
The Island House. I got to get an invite there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm really excited about that race. It's they're going to do some really cool things. It's a 3-day
No age groupers.
stage. Yeah, it's an invite only.
It's my heaven. You need a broadcaster? My goal, I want to go to the Island House and do ayahuasca with Mark Alaweska.
Holowesco.
Well, whatever.
Yeah. I'll see if he can.
You're gonna go on a vision quest while you're down there?
Why not? I've never taken a hallucinogen in my entire life. I mean, why not? 38.
Go with the strongest one for your first one. Then.
Is that pretty strong?
It'll fuck you up.
I know Robin Quivers took it. She
Does it?
talks about it a lot on the Howard Stern show. But I digress. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, my
It was
pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic to meet you. It was a really fun talk, and it's good to put a name to a half a Twitter handle,
Yeah.
face to a half a Twitter handle. I will be rooting for you Saturday.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Are you guys going to be like having a cheering spot on course?
I don't know what we're going to do. I thought Jeremy and I talked about this. He's the main man for BSX Insight, that we would actually just cruise around and hit like different parties and different spots. Like we'll go to the Moxie Bridge.
Right.
Those crazy people. Have you seen them yet?
Mm-mm. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really exciting in that, yeah, you have bits of the run where there's intense crowd support and people going crazy, and then some where you can be in your own head a little more and then get that crowd pump up again.
I did this race 2 years ago. Do you want to ask me any questions about the course, Heather? Any, get any insight from me? I'm here for
Yeah,
you.
sure. How should I pace the bike up? And please just enlighten
Well,
me.
if you're like me, you're going to want to hit that 170 watts right away, okay? And just try to
just hold it there.
just
all
try
day.
to hold that until you start to fade at about mile 50, and just hang on for dear life.
Gotcha. Okay.
When you start to see double, that's when you maybe should start drinking some water.
Gotcha.
Also, I wouldn't recommend going with the Tim Noakes theory of only drinking when you're thirsty. Tim Noakes is an idiot for saying that.
Yeah, that is something here with the humidity. Like, I don't find myself feeling thirsty, but you're just sweating buckets. So it's really, you have to remember to drink a lot. Oh, but we're violating the talking about race nutrition rule.
Oh, we did.
So, yeah.
We should be fined.
We'll edit this out.
We'll edit this out
Okay, perfect.
live on YouTube. Well, I don't think we did a bad job for a live show. I'm really proud of both of you, especially you, Dark Mark. You did a great job. Thank you. Thank you again for dressing up. Bahrain Endurance 13.
Yep, I'm one of the lucky 13.
All right.
I'm an understudy.
Did you see that shirt?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Now, Heather, you're a smart person. Use your powers of deduction. Do you think that is a counterfeit shirt? I'm not sure if Mark is really on this team or not. I have to be honest.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to tell. It might just be that the guy he went to for silk screening just kind of messed it up. Hey,
No, it's just like vintage,
vintage. Oh yeah.
What my hope is that
American Apparel.
Prince Nassar sues you for copyright infringement,
Oh,
or Maca, or somebody over
well,
there.
I got a good
Got a good
lawyer.
attorney.
Yeah, KBG.
All right. All right, Heather. Thank you so much. I'm going to play us out now with some music, and we'll be back with someone else. I don't remember who's next. Anybody else?
Crowy?
I don't think it's Crowy. I don't think he's here. We would have heard about it.
Oh, okay.
No one took this spot because it's just going to be a tough act to follow, right?
Honestly, whoever shows up at 11 o'clock is totally screwed.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.